Trump was giving a rally speech in the wake of his 85 indictments, and man, homie let it all hang out. I mean, it's interesting because I saw different reactions to this, and I'm curious what all of you guys think, but in lefty circles on Twitter, or X as it's now called, I actually saw them going, oh my God, he's back in form. Oh my God, he's freaking it. This is hilarious. But I gotta be honest with you, my instinctual reaction when I watched it was just more like, a little bit like cringing, wincing, thinking, oh, that's a little far even for you. So let's ease into it here. Let's start with Christie. Of course, Christie's been hammering Trump over and over and over on the campaign trail. And so this is Trump bringing up Christie in his rally speech, and it gets ugly.
No, he's eating right now. He can't be bothered. Sir, please do not call him a fat pig. That's very disrespectful. Don't call him. See, I'm trying to be nice. Don't call him a fat pig. You can't do it. You can't do that. So now, because you're not allowed to do that, and therefore we're not going to do it, okay? We want to be very civil, right?
I mean, so look, let's point out the obvious. Is Christie a big old boy? You betcha. Yes, he is. But Trump, you're kind of fat too, bro. Like, don't get me wrong, Trump hides it better, right? And he's not as fat as Christie. But you're a big old beefy boy too, and in this instance, you're a big old wet beefy boy. This is a wet man. This is a moist man that you're looking at on screen right now. And in fact, Trump goes on to comment on his own moistness. He's like, incredible. I mean, whoever did the AC in this joint, they should be very proud of themselves because it's like 110 degrees in here, and the fake news media is going to turn around and say, oh, Trump didn't look well. Yeah, well, that's not really fake news. You really look terrible, and you're sweating from every pore on your beefy body. So you're really fat, is point number one. Point number two, when he did the whole, like, sir, don't call him a fat pig, sir, don't do that. Now, maybe I'm an idiot, and that's very likely, but back in, like, 2016, he did this routine back then, too, right? He didn't do it with Christie as his target, and he didn't do it with this particular line of attack of somebody being fat. But he would be like, what's that? What? Like, I would almost half think somebody actually shouted something out in the audience. And then he was like, taking a jab, but also doing a wink and a nod and taking the high road by being like, don't do that. Don't do that, folks. Don't say those words. That's not right. Here, it's just obvious that he's just like, I want to call him a fat pig, so I'm just going to call him a fat pig and pretend like somebody in the audience is saying it. And that's probably what he was doing in 2016, too. But anyway, my point is, like, a lot of this stuff was just fun in 2016, and now it just feels like mean-spirited, right? And let's be clear, for all the problems with Christie, and there's a million of them. I mean, I'm not sure I agree with him on a single political issue. When he attacks Trump, it has been substantive. It has been like, hey man, you lost the election, you knew you lost, you kept saying you won, and you tried to steal it. Like you're a petulant, narcissistic, ego-driven little baby. You're an idiot, you're a moron. Like these are things Christie has said about Trump, and well, wow, shocker, Chris Christie's actually right about something for once. So I find myself when I listen to him going, I mean, look, it's true, right? Like he's being harsh and aggressive against Trump, but what he's saying, there's actually like truth to it, and it matters because it's politics, it's policy based. With Trump, he's just like, you're a fat pig, you little bitch. You're eating right now because you're so fat, fatty McFattington. And it's like, I don't know, man. It just strikes me as it's a little too over the top and mean-spirited, and like there's not the element of fun as much as there used to be. But look, that's just my take on it. I'm curious what all you guys think, because like I said, I saw a lot of people in the circles that I run in on Twitter who were out like enjoying this and laughing it up hysterically. All right, so now that I just gave you a little old appetizer here. This is just un poquito, little something. Now we're gonna get to the main event. So the whole speech was deranged, as I'm sure you could already guess. But here he is. He's going to go after, I call her Fani Willis. Apparently, I heard Anna Kasparian refer to her as Fani Willis. I don't know how it's pronounced. I'm just going to keep going with Fani. Maybe I'm going to stick with that in the same way that I refuse to call Tommy Tuberville by his proper name. I will always call him Tuberville because it sounds hilarious. So Fani Willis, is, of course, investigating Trump in Georgia. He caught wind of the news that there's going to be some more indictments coming shortly of him in that state. And so he decided, I'm going to put her right in my crosshairs in the same way that he's been going after the judge in the D.C. case and Jack Smith and potential jurors and Washington, D.C. itself. Like anywhere he has issues or problems, you just like, hand me my machine gun. I'm going to start blasting in every which direction. So here he is. He's going to go after Fani Willis. And this is, whew, man, this is dark. So let's listen, and then I'll give you guys the facts of the situation.
And I probably have another one. They say there's a young woman, a young racist in Atlanta. She's a racist. And they say, I guess, they say that she was after a certain gang, and she ended up having an affair with the head of the gang or a gang member. And this is a person that wants to indict me. She's got a lot of problems, but she wants to indict me to try and run for some other office. What's going on in this country is, and by the way, wants to indict me for a perfect phone call. This was even better than my perfect call with Ukraine. Remember that call? That was a perfect call. This one's better. This one is more perfect.
Oh, my God, man. All right, so the phone call he's referring to is, of course, the find me 11,780 votes. That's all I need. We won the state. Go find me the votes. And, of course, I think it was the Secretary of State he was talking to was like, no, that's illegal. I'm not just going to, like, rig the election for you. But he's referring to that phone call. He's saying it's a perfect phone call. But when he goes after Fani Willis, guys, this is incredible. So he brings up, and this is the Trump effect, right? He says something so outrageous, so over the top, so insane, but so specific that part of you goes, well, hold on. Is that true? And so, of course, naturally, I pull up Google and I go to Fani Willis gangster relationship is what I typed in to see if there was any truth to what he was saying. I felt like such a moron because, of course, there's not. In fact, this is amazing. Every single article that comes up, if you type in Fani Willis gangster relationship, is just about how Fani Willis has cracked down on gangsters in Georgia. Every article is like, here we have, somebody who's tough on crime. Here we have somebody who's trying to keep the streets safe and clean. And in a world that made sense, this is something that, conservatives and Republicans who claim they are tough on crime and we want to law and order, back to blue and all that stuff, they would love Fani Willis because they'd be like, hold on, she's going after the violent criminals who are making our streets less safe. But of course, they don't give her any credit. They don't even know that about her. And Trump's taking what is her strength, that she's tough on crime and she has a track record of being tough on crime, and he's trying to flip it and turn it into her weakness by spreading a deranged rumor that she slept with some sort of gang member. Now, by the way, I'm going to go even a step further than this. Let's say it was true. And by the way, again, I couldn't even find some shitty right-wing rag blog that says, oh yeah, this happened. I couldn't find it. But even if there was one that did report that, and even if it was true, it is not a crime to have a relationship with somebody who's a felon or a criminal or whatever. But she didn't even do it, so why are we even having this conversation? Why are we having this conversation? It's just a smear attempt. He's trying to flip the tables, go on the offense, and make it seem like this person is deranged, this person is crazy, this person is targeting your favorite president better than Washington, better than Lincoln, Donald Trump. It's dark, man. And honestly, the thing it reminded me of the most is, remember when he started that rumor? They're like, oh, well, I heard, where was Ted Cruz's dad when JFK was killed? Where was Ted Cruz's dad? I heard maybe his father was involved in JFK's assassination. Like, he just says stuff, and then he just moves on and acts like, yeah, this is what I do. Guys, here's the thing. Like, usually when it comes to pathological liars, there's actually a question. Do they even know if they're lying anymore? Or is it just like their brain doesn't categorize things in like, this is true, this is false kind of way, like you and I do? And with many pathological liars, they just act, and there's no like, they don't ever sit with the consequences of their actions or really even care if it's true or false. But with Trump, these lies are so extreme and so over the top and so specific and so targeted, I find it impossible to think, oh, he doesn't know he's lying. Of course he knows he's lying. Of course he does. So look, that gets into a question here. Is he now flat out defaming Fani Willis? And remember, he's been going after everybody under the sun. He's been going after the judge in the other case. He's been going after Jack Smith. He's been no holds barred. And like, part of the pre-trial release deal was, here are the things you can't do. And he's doing like all of those things. So now you put these people in a horrible situation where they're like, holy cow, am I really going to have to lock up a president of the United States, a former president of the United States, because he doesn't abide by his own pretrial release deal? Because, again, if this was anybody else, it'd be a wrap. Of course they would lock him up. But with Trump, it's like they got to walk on eggshells because it's a former president, and it would be a whole national thing. It'd be the biggest story in the country and all that. And it's like, Jesus, man, how do you deal with this? How do you deal with somebody who's so unhinged, who's such a liar, who's so defamatory, who's clearly trying to, like, I think he knows he can't win in the court of law with all these cases. So what's he doing? He's trying to win in the court of public opinion. He's using the media to try to win this. Hey, if I win in the court of public opinion, then, maybe that helps protect me in the court of law. That's the strategy here. But man, it is so nefarious. The Christie thing saying, he's a fat pig or whatever. It's like, yeah, I can see some people think that's funny. I think it's lost its funness. It's more just like weird and gross and over the top now. But I can see an argument for that. There is no argument. You're just lying. You're just doing it on purpose. You're just defaming somebody. And there may be consequence for that. We'll see. It would be, Jesse Waters said this on Fox News, and he's right. Trump is going to immediately violate the terms of his pretrial release, and he's basically going to dare the judge, do something about it. We'll see what happens. But in a world that made sense, this would already be a Rappington. He'd already be locked up. But I don't know if that's going to happen because it's such a unique case. It is a former president. And so he might just be able to use the media the rest of the time to build his case and defame everybody in sight. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You want to.